Hello, class. Today we're in Spanish 1. We're going to go over AR and ER and IR present tense verb conjugations. Now, some of you may be wondering, what is a conjugation? Conjugations are very important in Spanish as they show us who is doing the action of the verb and when it occurred. So a conjugation is when we change the verb to show the tense and subject in Spanish. The conjugation shows who is performing an action and when it is occurring or occurred. So why is conjugation important? In Spanish, conjugation is vital for effective communication. Proper verb forms enhance clarity, allowing speakers to express their actions accurately according to their subjects. So if we don't conjugate a verb, it will sound incorrect or it will sound weird, as some people, when they're trying to learn English, if they don't say, you pour the milk instead of pour the milk, it can sound different, or it's unclear as to who they're talking to or if it's a command. So in Spanish, our verbs fall into 3 categories, meaning that every verb is going to end in an AR, an ER, or an IR word. And each category follows distinct conjugation patterns. So the first verb we're going to look at is our AR verb conjugations. So we're going to look at regular AR verb endings. So here we have our set of conjugations for AR verbs. So we have yo, which means I. That's showing that I'm doing the action of the verb. For our AR verbs, that's going to end in an O. A to, which means you, is going to be AS ending. El, ella, and usted is going to be an A ending. Nosotros or nosotras is we, is going to be an AMOS ending. Vosotros or vosotras is an AIS ending. And ellos, ellas, and ustedes are going to be an AN ending, which is they or all of y'all are with an AN ending. And I just want to note this accent here. This is also something that is different in Spanish that we don't have in English, but those accents are really important for us to emphasize where we're speaking, and also should be in our written form as well. So we're going to go a bit more into conjugating regular verbs. So the first thing that we are going to do is take off the AR and the infinitive. And the infinitive right here, the verb hablar, it means to speak. Right here, that's the infinitive. When it's the full verb with the ending AR here, it's called an infinitive. So this in English would mean to speak. That is what our infinitive in English would be. It's to speak. So that's what hablar is. And what we do before we add on these endings up here is we drop the AR. So then we have that stem, which is HABL. And then just depending on who is doing the action, we add on that ending. So if it's I'm speaking, I would add on that O to the HABL, and it'd be hablo. If I am doing you speak, we would drop that A, we would add that AS, and it'd be hablas, tú hablas. If I'm trying to say he, she, or talking in the formal to an older person or a teacher, or someone we're just meeting, I would use an A ending, which would be habla. If it's we are all speaking, we're adding the amos to that HABL, which is hablamos. And then same with the informal version of you all is ice. And just again, this form is only used in Spain. It's not used in other parts of Latin America. And so a lot of Spanish speakers here in the US don't tend to use this form. So we have habláis for that one. Then the following one is going to be ellos, ellas, and ustedes is AN. and that's going to be hablan. So for any AR regular verb ending, all we're going to do is take the AR at the end and drop it, and then we're going to add on who is ever doing the action of the verb. So another one we have is practicar. So this would become, we would drop the AR there, which gives us practic. And then again, we can add practico, practicas, practica, practicamos, practicais, or practican. And then our last one is going to be tomar, which means to drink. And we're going to drop the AR, which we have tom. And again, we got yo tomo, tú tomas, él, ella, usted toma, nosotros tomamos, vosotros tomáis, ellos, ellas, y ustedes toman. So these are going to be really important for you guys to remember. And as we are learning and going through these verb endings, even though it's a little bit repetitive and you may not hear native speakers using our pronouns here, like yo hablo, I want you guys to write those down so that you are remembering which ending goes with the pronoun you're using. So again, it'd be like yo hablo, tú hablas, él, ella, usted habla, nosotros hablamos, vosotros habláis, ellos, ellas, or ustedes hablan. So those are going to be really important for you guys to remember. And if you guys can take a second to make a little chart of these AR verbs for your reference, because you're going to need these for an activity we're doing at the end, and also for your homework tonight too. So we're going to go over some example sentences using AR verbs. So we have yo participo en clase, I participate in class. Tú caminas al parque, you walk to the park. Nosotros estudiamos español, we study Spanish. So these are some ways, little short sentences that we can make with our AR verbs. And you can see, again, the change of who is doing the action. So I, we have our O ending. Tú, we have our AS ending. Nosotros, we have our AMOS ending. All right, our next category of verbs is going to be understanding our ER verb conjugations. So here we have another chart, but it's for ER verbs. And so you can see, yay, our yo is going to be the same. It's going to be an O ending, which is good. But our tú is going to be ES. Our él, ella, usted is E. Our nosotros is hemos. Vosotros is ais. And ellos, ellas, y ustedes is en. So those are going to be some differences, but it's nice that they're at least the E is going to be the same across the board. So it's different than our AR verbs, but we got comer becomes como, because again, we're going to drop that ER ending. So comer means to eat. And so we have our stem, which would be COM. And depending on who is doing the action of the verb, we are going to conjugate that to the person doing the verb. So if it's I eat, it's going to be yo como. If it's you eat, it's tú comes. And if it's we eat, it's going to be nosotros comemos. And this consistent pattern, it simplifies our learning process, so it makes it easier in understanding. Once we get these memorized, we can conjugate any regular ER verb. So a couple example sentences using our ER verbs would be yo como pizza, I eat pizza. Ellos beben agua, which is they drink water. Our last conjugations are going to be IR verb conjugation. So we have our regular IR verb endings. So IR verb endings, we got yo is O, tú is S, él, ella, usted is E, nosotros or nosotras is imos, vosotros or vosotras is ais, ellos, ellas, y ustedes is en. So vivir, the stem is VIV. Next, we're going to add the appropriate base on the subject pronoun. For instance, yo vivo is I live. You add on uses the O ending. So again, it's similar to our ER. The only two differences is our IMOS and our IS. In our ER verbs, we have our EIS and then our EMOS here. So example sentences using IR verbs. So we got yo vivo en Madrid, or nosotros escribimos cartas. We write letters. Hi again, sorry about that, class. I had a bit of an issue with the recording, but we're popping back into where we're at. So we were just reviewing our AR, ER, and IR verbs. So I'm having you guys look at the three charts, and I'm just curious if you guys are able to spot the differences. I gave you a little hint with our box, but I'm just going to give you a couple of seconds to kind of look over it quickly. In your brain, just kind of be thinking about which verbs are the same, which have the same endings with their pronoun, and which ones are different. And that way you can just kind of start categorizing, because again, these are really important to know so that you're able to conjugate any verb that's a regular verb, and you can know who is doing it. So it'll just help you be able to speak more, write more, and talk about present tense actions that are happening. Give you a little bit more time just to take it in. But just again, if you haven't noticed, so our yo and all of them across the board, they are all O's. So our ending is going to be an O in the present tense. So if we see a verb, so if we see hablo, that means that it's I'm speaking, and we can look at that ending to see who is doing the action. Same with, with to, we have our AS for our AR verbs, but then ER and IR, they're going to be the same with, AR verbs are AS, and ER and IR verbs are ES and ES. And then we got él, ella, and usted, he or she, or you formal. We have A for AR verbs, and then our ER is E, IR is also E. For nosotros, it's the same for the verb that we're conjugating. So we got, for AR, we got amos, for ER, we got amos, and for IR, we got emos. Vosotros, we have our AIS, we have our EIS, and we have IS. So again, those are following the verb that we're in. And then last but not least, we got ellos, ella, and ustedes. Is for AR, we got AN, for ER, we got N, and for IR, we also got N. So those are just things you're going to have to remember, those endings, to know what we're talking about. This chart can be really helpful if you guys want to write it on the inside of your notebook, or have a little sticky note of them on your computer, so that you can just remember which are the endings for each verb. Next, we're going to go to the website Conjugations. So you guys are going to click on this link, and we're going to join our class. I'll give you that class code. But I just want you guys to be able to practice. First, we're going to practice individually, and then we'll see who gets the highest score. And whoever gets the highest score will get an extra couple of points for our tests, or for our quiz that we have, because we will have a quiz on this in the next week to see who's practicing. And then from there, we'll also go into groups. I'll split you guys up into groups, and we will see who can answer the questions the quickest. But just to show you guys how it goes real quick, I'll show you. So we got Jorge y Juan caminar. So again, this is what's important, is right now this verb is not conjugated, so it's in its infinitive form. So it's saying George and Juan are to walk. So we need to say George and Juan are walking, is what we'd say in English. But in Spanish, what we just went over is that we're going to take our stem, which is CAMIN, and add the ending, which is amos, and then we'll check our answer. Oops, even teachers get it wrong. It's caminan. There we go. Awesome. And so you guys will do the next one. Yo camino. Remember, the endings are all O's. So why don't you guys go ahead and use the next couple of minutes to check your answers on this.